last episode we came back from Ensenada and we had a bit of an issue with our port and starboard lights. These guys right here. This is a really old design and they held up pretty well for 50 years or so, but there's too many joints where water can come in and we had serious infiltration whenever we would stuff the bow. Let me show you one of these that I've taken apart. Here we go. Here's the port light. The way that this seals is this gets put up against the boat with a gasket. Now, if you've ever sealed anything with a gasket, you know that 2 points of contact are not enough to make this face seal. It's more common to have multiple points of contact around a gasket, just like you do in the windows. So this from the start is not a good design. Furthermore, the actual light fits into the housing with an O-ring. So there's a whole nother face that needs to get sealed. And behind that light is the bulb, and that compresses that O-ring and seals it. So there's many points where water can enter this. And over 50 years or so, all the rubber just kind of dried out, rotted, and the seal was compromised. So every time we'd stuff the bow, lots of water would come in. And you can see that this is highly corroded. And it's actually kind of a miracle that we had electrical contact at all. But we did. So I've decided to replace them with much newer, completely sealed LEDs from Wave 1. I found these on Amazon and they shipped same day to me here in Southern California. And these are quite nice. I haven't installed them yet, but one of the reasons I like these is that they are completely sealed LED enclosures and they are the exact same size as my previous lights. Perfect match. But that comes with a problem, which is I broke one of the screws when I was taking off the starboard light. So I have to go and dig that screw out of the hull. So that'll present some interesting challenges. Why don't you come along and I'll show you how to install one of these. The screw, the stainless steel screw, broke inside the hull. So what I'm gonna try and do is drill around it to open up that hole, pry it out, and then fill it up with some silica gel epoxy. All right, this hole looks pretty enlarged. I'm gonna see if maybe I can pull that out with some needle nose vice grips. Oh yeah, maybe just pry it out. So cool. So you can really see the cone-shaped kind of hole I made to get that out, drilling all around it at an angle. And that's gonna make for some really good holding of my silica gel reinforced epoxy. All right, now we're gonna mix up some 2-part epoxy. Oh, it looks like roughly the same amount. Okay, cool. Now I'm gonna grab a thickening agent. I've got some silica gel. You can buy this in bulk on Amazon. I'm gonna go ahead and scoop this in there and mix. See how the texture is? It's like a goop. Now I can go and shove that in the hole from the outside. Which I will do right now. All right, so here's the final product. Kind of rubbed everything around so that it's making contact with all of that. It doesn't need to be pretty because this is going to be hidden underneath the bezel of the light. So I'll give that time to cure and then I'll come back.
I'm using a scour pad and a blade to remove the old butyl compound. I've masked off the areas I don't want to scratch with blue tape. Next, I wipe the area clean with ethyl alcohol to remove any oily residue from the butyl compound. I test fit the new light fixtures and run into a problem. The mounting holes don't line up, even though the spacing is exactly the same as my old ones. This is because the rectangular backing of the new LED fixture is bumping into the circular hole in the hull. I'll need to cut out some rectangular notches with my pocket knife to make these new light fixtures fit.
Alright, see if that works now.
I'm not going to trust this gasket to seal the entire face of this fixture, so I've globbed silicone adhesive to both sides of the gasket and to the hull. I'll even go so far as to crawl into the anchor locker and completely cover this fixture from the inside of the hull to prevent leaking.
In the coming weeks, or when this stuff is on, we get The navigation lights look awesome, and aside from that job, I rerouted the inverter switch so that it's right above my switch panel here, so I can just power that off and all of my 120 volts goes off. I can power it back on, and there we go. So I've got two little house plugs right there, and this switch used to be underneath the aft berth. I'd have to crawl in there and switch it on, but I rerouted that to right here, so that's great. Navigation lights are finished, and I rerouted the inverter. Everything's looking good.